I think what we'll do is we'll kick off. Okay. You're all very, very welcome to this is our first IoD Surrey Connect, hashtag IoD Surrey Connect, and it is avowedly a talking head free zone, and it is avowedly a PowerPoint free zone. So this is about us sharing our insights, our inspirations, our sort of ideas and our experiences around working from home. Just a few positioning points before we kick off. I don't know how used you are to Zoom, but could I ask you that if you are not speaking, you have yourself on mute. I'm not going to control any of that. We're all adults. And if you want to grab our attention, then feel free to do the hand wave option in the reactions icon at the bottom of your Zoom meeting. Also, please do feel free to use the chat area. So I'd advise you to activate chat from your bottom menu and use that to enter any particular questions you've got, any particular insights, ideas you've got, anything you want to share, throw that in there. The meeting is being recorded, as we said, in the meeting invite, and it will be available on the Zoom cloud, and I will be sending you a link to that after the event. This is a Surrey IoD event. It's going to be the first of many. I did a trial non-IoD event for a replacement to our 859 on the final Friday of March. That went well enough for us to schedule 859s on final Fridays on Zoom henceforth. So members can book in on iod.com right now for that event. We will keep it smaller than our usual 60 people, and I'm thinking that we will restrict it to about 30 people, so get in early. So the context for today, I think, is about honoring our foundational values of integrity and enterprise. It's about building on our already warm and trusted relationships with each other. And it's about mindshare. And all of us who are regular 859 folk, we all understand the power of mindshare, the power of the wisdom of the room. And we will be honoring that and giving expression to that again today. So that's the context for today. We're going to run for about 45, 55 minutes. We'll keep it flexible. It won't be any more than 55 minutes. And we're going to run this in breakout rooms. So the way I see it is we'll finish this introduction part very, very quickly. I'm going to set you some questions. We're going to break into rooms. We're going to break out feedback into plenary, and we'll do that twice. And there's no such thing as a bad idea so long as it's your idea. And there's no such thing as bad experience so long as it's your experience. So again, in the spirit of the 859, it's about sharing stuff that's real for us. We're not going to espouse theory. I'm going to be asking you to be thinking about stuff that you're doing, stuff that you're winning against, stuff that you're struggling with, so that we can all help and share on that with each other. So what are we going to talk about? It's about working from home and asking ourselves what's working. And I think this will work best if we have smallish rooms. In the 859, we have tables of 5. I think we'll go with tables of 5 for the first one, and we'll see how that operates. So what's working for you? What have you made work for you? What are you hoping to make work for you but are struggling with, and you probably need some help with from somebody you can trust within our IoD Surrey community, because they've got your interest at heart and they're happy to help you gain an edge because they know that you will help them gain an edge. And then once we've finished that first session of 10 minutes, we will share back into plenary. And could I ask you to, when you're in your meeting rooms, could I ask you please to be as practical and as concise as possible, help each other out, give everyone an opportunity to speak and to share in that 10 minutes. You nominate somebody who's going to speak for your room, okay? And when that person is feeding back into the room, can they please keep their comment area to about a minute? And that will help us all to gain the maximum insight. So the best insights from that 10-minute conversation condensed into a minute, and adding to anything that you all want to add to in the comments area in plenary. So are we clear on that? Can we just sort of give a thumbs up if we're clear on the context and the process and everything else that we're going to run with? Okay, so I'm going to get us into rooms right now. So working from home, what's working? What are you making work? What can you share? What do you need to ask? What are you struggling with, even though you know it would be a great thing to do? Total confidentiality. The Chatham House rule applies. This is for us, and I'm just going to get us all into rooms now. So let me go here. Hang on a second. So I'm going to get us, we've got 21 people, so I'm going to get us into 4 rooms. That's 4 rooms of 5, or 5 rooms. So yeah, let's do 5 rooms, and that will sort of give us a better opportunity. So I'm going to create those rooms now, and you're all going to be allocated 2 rooms, and I will see you back here in 10 minutes time. So I'm going to open all the rooms. Bang. So welcome back, everybody. Did you get a 1-minute timer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent stuff. And you saw that I sent a broadcast to tell you that you were halfway through. Was that helpful, or did it intrude?
Helpful.
Fine.
That was good.
Okay, so I'm going to take that as being something that we will repeat. Okay, so a halfway through thing, and then the 1-minute automatic Zoom countdown. We'll do. Okay, so we're back in plenary. I think everyone is now back in plenary. So insights, what are we going to share with each other?
Shall I go first for room 4?
Go for it.
Okay. Hello, everybody. We had a really interesting chat. Very, very different world we're living in, as we know, so different challenges to normal. The first one that we would like to highlight is the fact that it doesn't matter whether you've got a young tech team or what I called a middle-aged freelancer set, like myself, where you've got people that are living in isolation on their own, not used to working from home. There's a very, very different type of people, leadership style and action that's required. And that was the same whether it was employees or freelancers. There's a responsibility on us as leaders to help manage that through. And then the second insight was that there's quite a lot of confusion around furloughing and the rules, and we understand that it's going to take time for the government to put the exact things in place, but even some of the accountants aren't necessarily very clear on it yet because it's not out there completely. And this is creating unusual amounts of stress, particularly for people who are employers, but also for people in key roles within organisations, like, for example, people who are managing payroll and are therefore getting all the questions. And so people like that might need extra support.
Cool. That was 1 minute and 5 seconds. Well done, Sue. Super. And of course, furloughing, the government did release information around some more detailed information around furloughing a few days ago. I suspect it's not going to be the end of the game of information coming out on that. So table the next
If you like, I'll go first and sort of take your next rather, and in terms of table 1.
1 minute then, go.
Yeah. We didn't actually get too far other than a good set of introductions and sort of starting to talk about what it was we were actually doing as opposed to the problems that we were encountering. So, Sabani gave a good overview in terms of being a sort of a tech savvy kind of organization, having been and more of a consultancy business, being perhaps slightly more geared up for this kind of environment than people that are less tech savvy and more sort of office based. I talked a little bit about I've still got sort of 150 people all working, and talked about sort of weekly video casts to all members of the team, and within the sort of sub teams, my executive team, what have you, starting to use Teams as opposed to just using Skype for Business, and sort of starting to bring people together within Teams calls and what have you. But it was, apart from that, it was very nice to hear to get the background and hear what it was that everybody else was doing. But
absolutely, Ian, and that's part of it as well. And I think we all need to be thinking about this technology and playing with it and practicing it and making it happen. And weekly team meetings, I've got clients now who do stand-up meetings in the morning. Almost like an agile sort of operational sort of system, and it's working really well for them because their teams, if they're out, can be on the phone or whatever. So cool. Room with the next.
I'll pick up where you left off, Richard. Actually, one of the companies I'm working with, they're particularly young company, people mainly in their 20s and 30s, and a lot of the people hadn't worked from home before. So we started to we need to get structure in their day. And not only did we have stand-ups in the morning, we actually had stand-ups in the evening as well to make sure that people were done what they said they were going to do. And that seems to have worked very well. The other advantage is it seems to have broken down the barriers in the office. So you've got teams that weren't very keen about talking to each other, getting people to collaborate without that sort of office structure seems to be much easier. And I'm running a couple of projects for them at the minute, and getting collaboration has worked very well. We have the concern about furlough, and one particular person that furloughed a number of staff, and what was the intervention that you could actually do during furlough was probably the main thing, because apparently there's going to be a government investigation after this. And I sort of said that the CIPD has got a useful hub on furlough and COVID-19 that could maybe provide some help and guidance.
Absolutely, and thank you very much. And indeed, the IoD hub, the coronavirus hub, has got a lot of information, and we've got people meeting with the business secretary every day, and with number 10 and 11 in the usual rhythm of at least once a week. So the news on the IoD coronavirus hub is reliable as well. Room the next.
Yeah, I'll go to Richard. So we covered two things. Firstly, we just sort of explored the point that really, when you're working from home, you can't do anything without a decent internet connection, which not everyone has at home. So, and Fergal was particularly struggling with his. But businesses are now starting to become dependent on their staff's internet connection, which is a interesting sort of dynamic that's appearing, and we wonder how that's going to pan out afterwards. Second thing we spoke about was the need to continue to improve your business despite everything that's going on and all the noise and changing working patterns and everything else, and actually how important that is. It's even more important now because we've got a completely new situation for running your businesses. We've got to adapt, but we've got to make time for the strategic thinking and the strategic work to adapt our businesses, as well as over communicating with clients, over communicating with staff, and all the other stuff that is taking up a lot more of our time probably than it would have done 3 or 4 weeks ago. So that's a challenge that we've kind of got to get our heads around.
Absolutely. 57 seconds. Thank you. Brilliant, Bruce. Well done, mate.
I had a timer running.
Room the next.
So in room 3, I was with Mark, Leslie, and Caroline. I seem to be quite lucky with my business. We've pretty well managed to move our entire portfolio online, and we're delivering assessments for special needs children and treatment sessions online. And we've taken some loss, but it's not an enormous consequential loss, and we haven't had to furlough anybody or put any associates on hold. So we've been really lucky. And some of the people around the table, you know, Caroline, particularly the travel industry, you know, her vertical's been adversely affected. We also talked about the discipline working at home. People like myself, some of you on the screen here, we've got our own workspace. We can shut the door on it, and you have to apply discipline so you don't find yourself working at all hours, you know, sometimes to your detriment. And when we're used to being able to move out and about and getting those natural breaks, if you train yourself to your desk, that also is counterproductive if you do it to excess.
Absolutely, Alex, and that's great in 59 seconds, brilliant. And the thing about discipline is, I think, critical, and it's not so massively critical for people who've got a home office, or people who have been road warriors or location independent workers, or occasionally being allowed to work from home every now and again. Those people can probably hack this, but the people who I suspect will not be able to hack it, and which if we have associates, contractors, or employees, need to be increasingly mindful of, are the people for whom working from home has been thrust upon them, and where their sanctuary, because our homes are our sanctuary, where their sanctuary has now been invaded by the pings and the demands of a busy working day. So I think we do need to be very, very mindful of that, because those are the people who will suffer, and I think we will see some suffering as this goes on. Have we done all the tables? I think we have. Okay, so any general 1 minute insight from anybody before we break back into our rooms? And I'll give you the context for breaking back into our rooms in a second. Any 1 minute insights from this part of our conversation? I'll take that as a no. Right, okay, so I'm going to get us back into rooms again randomly. And this time, it's the same set of questions. It's the same sort of what's working, what in our experience have we, but I'd like us to focus much more on ourselves personally. What have we found to be really useful? What have we learnt about ourselves and our business and the way we operate that we were not fully conscious of before this was thrust upon us? So how have we responded and developed so that we can share some of that developmental struggle and work with people in our trusted group? So I'm going to get us all back into our breakout rooms again, 10 minutes, and I'll let you know when we're halfway through, and you'll have a 1 minute countdown. So going to open all those rooms for people. Looks like we're all back. Okay, so same format as before. Room for first, whoever wants to share their insights within around about a minute.
I'll go first then, Richard, from room 5. So things that people are missing, one of the key things was the actual human interaction and contact of being face to face, being able to meet with people and build that rapport, the trust, and get a proper understanding of somebody's business. If you're in an environment where you're trying to meet people who you don't particularly know well, so it's early in a business relationship. So not being able to set that rapport and credibility up in the same way is being missed, and the general contact, obviously, with other people. One of the sort of positives that have come out of it is the fact that the whole situation shows that there are other ways of running a business. There are things that can be done in the future differently, which would be positive. There's also a willingness to try new things. People have had it forced upon them in many respects, but people are trying new things. Businesses are, particularly around technology. But there's also been seen to be a number of people who just don't have the right skill set still and need further training when we get out the other side of this. So people who've had difficulty using business collaborative tools, such as relatively simple things like OneDrive. So that's also something that came out of the conversation. So yeah, I think that's probably it. So I don't know how we're doing on time.
Cool, you did all right, 47 seconds, brilliant. The thing about the technology training and everything else is interesting. And again, I declare an interest. Most people know what I do for a living, but I'm constantly amazed at the ruthless reality that most people who are hardworking, great people haven't evolved even the way they use their Outlook inbox.
Yep.
Since they started using Outlook, and Outlook is now 22 years old, and most people haven't evolved the way they interact with the very simple, pervasive Outlook inbox tool. And I know that every day in my training business. Okay, room the next.
I'll go if you like. Room 1 again.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of it was we talked about sort of how businesses are changing and adapting, and in some ways sort of perhaps needing to or looking to see that they'll review how their businesses are after this is gone. Perhaps do they need the number of people that they've got? How many people are with businesses that are running are actually being productive within this area, and how many people are, well, we're not really missing them. So there was quite a bit of that. We found that Alex prefers his own company, which I mean we can completely understand, and it was. But generally, the main input was about how we're finding the situation today. Yes, there's some changes. Yes, we're using some different technologies, but it's getting us to think about how we're bringing our businesses forward into the future.
Absolutely, and I think that's something that's forced upon all of us, because we all know that with any shop, the world never goes back to pre-shop. The world is fundamentally different. The world has become fundamentally different post the financial crash of 2008. Arguably, the world became fundamentally different after the First World War in 2018. So we're never going to go back, and we've got to evolve. Room the next.
I'm happy to go if you want me to. Jane was saying that she has 17 people, I think, at home, or a lot of people at home, and particularly some of the younger ones are struggling with organising their day. One of the things I said, well, she was going to do some auditing of their personalities, and I suggested that you could use 16personalities.com, which is a free kind of Myers-Briggs thing, which helps people to understand, who they are and how they react to any situation, let alone this situation, which might help them to understand themselves better. So I put the link in the chat area if anyone wants to see that.
Good man.
The other thing is, we also talked a bit about attitude, and a lot of people's self-talk is not very good at the minute. I mean, I'm an introvert, so I'm very happy at home. I'm being over-socialed at the moment with all the different media that is going on. And I feel I need to go out and walk on my own and just get away from it all. But the extroverts are feeling they need to touch and be in the same room and so on. But I think, again, one's self-talk on this can be helpful, and some people's isn't. And I think employers can help people get that improved in their staff if they need to.
Absolutely, and that's 1 minute and 10 seconds, and thank you very much. And I think just touching on that and extending upon that, Paul, I think more than ever, if we have people relying upon us in whatever capacity, then we need to be even more cognizant of that. And we've got to work ways of being able to be that emotional support, and that sort of, I call it, building that esprit de corps. So yes, we can collaborate, and yes, we have teams and we can be team working, but I think the responsibility of all of us who have responsibility for contractors, associates, or staff, we need to be consciously thinking about what can we do in this world to build esprit de corps, which goes far beyond the hard sort of collaboration sort of techniques and technologies, because our people will not be dealing with this uniformly, and they won't necessarily be dealing with it well. Table the next.
Okay, sorry, it's me again. We were in a very small room of just two, me and Derek, and we had two insights for you. The first being that if you're seen as an expert in the current climate, it's really, really wearing. That's not me, by the way, that's Derek. Because you get no time out, you're working longer hours even. And so we were thinking that it's really, really important. And Derek has promised me, haven't you, Derek, wherever you are on the screen, that you're going to spend the weekend on the allotment. So
good for you, Derek. Anything else in that conversation, Sue?
Yes, there was one other thing, which was taking the opportunity to think of what the new normal might look like. This is something that I've been working on. So what might my new plan look like? Do I want to evolve the business? Is what I have been doing actually what I want to do? It's a chance to reflect on that. And also, I fundamentally believe, as I'm sure we all do, that there will actually be a new perspective on what really matters moving forward. And maybe that might help inform that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And you know, I keep on banging on about purpose and priorities, and I think this is an excellent time for all of us to revisit our personal purpose and to encourage our people to think beyond the deadline and the delivery commercially, and to be taking that time out to really think about our purpose and what's really important, and how do we nurture and develop stuff that we've had on the back burner for a while and taken for granted for a while. Room the next. Any other rooms? No. Hey, we've done it. Cool. Excellent stuff. So that's brilliant. Thank you. So thinking about everything that we've been talking about, can I just sort of touch on two or three things that resonated with me from what you've been sharing as I was sitting down here thinking about this stuff, and I think there's about three things that I'd want to share. One of the things that I found really useful for me was just creating a 3x3 plan and looking at short-term horizon wins. So I look at three things that I would like to sort of really achieve in the next week, and they can be very simple things, like, you know, really simple things, but three things that I'd like to achieve in the next week, and three things I need to do to make each of those happen. So I'm doing 9 particular actions that I would not have necessarily done if I was full on selling and delivering training across Europe. So I just found that helpful, that 3x3 matrix. What are the 3 things I want to achieve this week beyond business as normal? And what 2 or 3 things do I need to do to achieve each of those 3 things? And I think just touching on the theme of business as usual and new normal, I think we need to be giving ourselves time to step back and to be thinking about not just employees and not just the shape of the business, but I was speaking to somebody where the chairman of a very large insurance business is actually asking a question, and the question is, do we really need this office in one of the most expensive areas on the planet to run our business? So that's a person with serious weight asking a question that will impact the city and will impact lots of people's working lives. And I think we need to ask ourselves hard questions. And And then the third and final sort of point that I would share with you is when I'm thinking of those hard questions, I am really grateful for my sort of personal mentoring group. There's 4 of us, and we hold each other to account. We are declaring what our 9 actions are ahead of the week, and we hold each other to account on delivering those 9 actions as well as business as usual. And I guess pre-corona, I thought that that was a luxury, and it was lovely to have. And I love these men; they're all men in that particular group. I love these guys, and I'm less taking them for granted now, and I'm more seeing the real value in that. So I would urge you, if you haven't got a mentor group, if you haven't got a trusted person you can reach out to, and in the IoD, we all sort of know each other, guys. You know, I think we need to reach out and touch. There's a song there somewhere. I think we need to reach out and touch and trust, and build that trust thing that Alan spoke about right at the very start of his room presentation. But building that rapport and trust online is possible, because trust is something separate from technology. It's about human connectedness, and certainly that's one of the things that we in the IoD want to nurture and develop in our sort of leader director members. So with that, any other insights that anybody else wants to share before we sort of bring this to a close?
Richard, could I just add my 10 pennies worth?
Yes.
I don't know how many people normally commute to work who are actually on this session today. Most people see a commute as being a real pain. But actually at times like this, and particularly working from home, if you simply come down from your bedroom, go and get breakfast and then get into the office, you miss an important part of the day, which is the buffer between leaving home and going to work. And it's actually an important time because it actually is your time. It's the individual's time in some way, shape or form. It helps clear the mind. It helps the mind think about what we're going to be doing for the day. And the same that happens in reverse at the end of the day as well, of course. And particularly the people who are working at home for the first time, they can get into a real issue over the fact that there is no, there is either work and then it immediately is home life again. And so one of the thoughts is that actually get some of your exercise between finishing your breakfast and starting work, and use that as you commute, and then do it again after you finish work. So you finish, and then you go and have your commute, which is basically around the garden or around the road outside, whatever it is, and then you come home again, just to give yourself the time, your mind, to disconnect from one and to get to the other.
Yeah, and I think more than ever, we owe it to ourselves to look after ourselves and to encourage those we love and those we care for and those we're responsible for to be doing the same. And I know that social media is full of trite advice at the moment, and that's okay. But as directors, as leaders in our sort of business and our society and our family, we need to sort of help our people that we care for to do that and to really do it. And I think that's a big part. Yes.
I'll just make a very brief comment. Ian Martin here from the Enterprise Emperor Paper. I only unfortunately joined the group late on today, and I apologise for being late. I was in another meeting. I also just wanted to share, I don't know if anyone else has had it either, but I've had COVID-19. I've been self-isolating for the last 2.5 weeks. Unfortunately, I've not had it too badly, so I feel I've dodged a bullet.
Good man.
But I wanted to just pass the message to people that, you know, although there's some terrible stuff on the telly and radio and awful statistics going out, it is possible to survive this. I have underlying medical conditions. I have diabetes type 2. I'm a fat bastard, as my wife would say. And at the end of the day, I'm potentially somebody who could have had it far worse. And I just wanted to share a positive message that you can get through it. I wouldn't welcome it or suggest anyone should have it. I hope nobody else on the call has had it, but it is possible to get through and survive and get on with life. So I just wanted to, I hope you don't mind me.
No, good man, Ian. That's a good message to share and to end on. And we're going to end at 13:29. So inside the hour. Guys, quick thumbs up. Was that useful? Will we do it again? Are we happy that we don't have PowerPoint and we don't have talking heads?
Yes.
Yeah. Community, directors, leaders, sharing. I think that's the way forward. That's what I'm going to be driving in IoD Connect as we move through the next few months. And I look forward to sharing with all of you on the other side. So watch out. Polly's going to be sending some further stuff out for us to get together and build our resilience, build our knowledge, build a better business practice, and build a better future and a brighter future for all of us. So rock on, have a great afternoon, and, you know, give yourself an Easter break. You know, have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and maybe Tuesday off, and then get on the sort of treadmill on sort of Tuesday or Wednesday. Until then, cheers for now.